We see it every single year in fantasy football where there's that guy that comes out of nowhere and wins people leagues. We saw it with Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Bucky Irving last year. Well, in this video, we've identified 7 guys who you should be adding on the waiver wire now before week 1 who I think could be league winners because you're getting them for absolutely free. I think a lot of these guys aren't being talked about enough. They all have a ton of upside. And if you're stashing a second quarterback and you're not in a super flex league or another tight end or some of these old crusty veterans that you know aren't going to do anything, drop one of those guys for one of these 7 players. It's actually 6 players. Did I say 7? One of these 6 players. Let's start with Isaac Tesla, rookie receiver for the Detroit Lions, 4th round pick. This dude is explosive. He's electric. He has a big frame, 6'4", 215, impressive size speed combo. He led all FBS receivers in yards per route run at Arkansas last year. 9.97 relative athletic score, which is 11th all time at the position. This is a guy you might have heard of. He flashed in training camp. He flashed in preseason and finished with 8 receptions, 146 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now he's the wide receiver 3 on one of the best offenses in football as the Lions got rid of or they traded away Tim Patrick. So now there's an opportunity for Tesla when you're the wide receiver 3 to get some playing time. Obviously, there's not a clear path to immediate production with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams on the roster, but a lot of these guys, that's not going to be the case, right? That's not how it works. They come out of nowhere kind of as the season progresses. But if an injury occurs, if Amon-Ra gets hurt or Jameson gets hurt, it would be wheels up for a guy that you picked up for absolutely free. That's really talented, extremely athletic. He's a bigger receiver. And he's not one of the best offenses in football, so you know if he gets an opportunity, if he sees a larger role, he's probably going to have some success. So he's a guy I would consider picking up who has immense upside in fantasy this year if an injury occurs or if he somehow carves out a bigger role. On to our next guy, Woody Marks, rookie running back for the Houston Texans. This is honestly a guy who I think could be the starter all year long for Houston. There's a lot of question marks with Joe Mixon. Is he going to miss 4 games? Is he going to miss 8 games? The GM came out and was non-committal on if Mixon might be out for the year. Like, it would not shock me if by week 3, the Texans are like, we're putting Mixon on IR. His season is done. It doesn't sound good. I'm assuming season-ending surgery is an option. What I like about Marks is he has a 3-down skill set. This is a back that's 5'10", 208. He's got nice size, power, and at worst, he should be the pass down back on this roster. It's not going to be Nick Chubb. It's not going to be Dameon Pierce. Obviously, he'd be Mixon if he's out there, but as of right now, he's not. So I think Marks is going to have a big role in this new offensive system under Nick Caley, offensive coordinator now, who comes over from LA. Marks averaged 52 receptions per season in college. We love that. If we're in a PPR league, this is a back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He had 83 receptions in 2021. That is absolutely elite. We mentioned Nick Chubb. He's on the roster, but he's an older back at this point. He's dealt with 2 really serious knee, leg injuries. He looks like dust at this point. I don't think Chubb is going to do anything, unfortunately. Dameon Pierce on the roster, but he's a guy that can never stay on the football field. So I think Marks is the best bet to emerge here in this backfield, especially when you're making these waiver claims. The running back position is so important to take shots on. You should be drafting these guys, but if you didn't draft them, these are guys that could be league winners because if the starter goes down, or in this case, if Woody Marks just earns a bigger role, if Mixon never returns, this is a guy who could be an RB1 on a potent Houston offense. Like, it's an easy bet to make. If he's a free agent right now, you absolutely should be stashing him. You'd be foolish not to because of everything that we just talked about. I think he's in a really good spot, and the vibes, the news around Mixon does not look good. Moving on to the next running back, this is probably my favorite guy on this list. So if you want to make a priority, Ollie Gordon, rookie running back for the Miami Dolphins, is going to be a dude this year. He was a 6th-round pick, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about why he was a 6th-round pick. He had a really good season in 2023, over 2,000 total yards, 22 touchdowns, and then his draft stock went tumbling down the following year, but it really all wasn't his fault. He was in a really bad offensive environment. The offensive line was a huge issue, along with him getting banged up. He did still score 14 touchdowns, though, but he didn't look like the player that he did in 2023 for those reasons. But I think the Dolphins got an absolute steal in the NFL draft, and I think you should be picking up Gordon on your fantasy team because he could have a massive opportunity as Miami's RB2 with Jalen Wright dealing with a leg injury. We know Devon Achane has been battling a calf injury. When we're talking about a calf injury for not only a running back, but a really explosive player like Achane, that's very worrisome for me because calf injuries linger. They're very easy to re-injure. So what if Achane re-injures that calf injury? He's going to be out for weeks, maybe months. And one notable thing to mention, Jalen Wright is dealing with a leg injury. He's probably going to miss several weeks. And even if he wasn't, looking at the preseason numbers between Gordon and Wright, Gordon had 18 rushes for 88 yards and a touchdown. Wright in the preseason, 13 rushes for 19 yards, 0 touchdowns. So even when Wright comes back, Gordon pretty much has the RB2 spot locked up on this Miami offense. And Gordon also had 101 yards after contact this preseason, which was first among rookie running backs. And Ali is a big bruising back sitting at 6'2", 225. He's a much bigger back than Devon Achane. So what does that mean? Could Gordon establish himself in this offense, even if he's not the starter, to be the goal line back, to get those easy touchdowns on a Dolphins offense that I'm expecting to be better this year? We know Achane got a lot of those goal line carries last season, but what if they turn to the bigger back who it would probably be a lot more effective in that role? And maybe that would be a way for Miami to try to preserve Devon because he has been banged up since he came into the league. He's a smaller back. So this is really interesting to me because Gordon at worst is the RB2 on a really good offense that could be the goal line back. He could score 8 to 10 touchdowns potentially. Obviously that's on the optimistic side, but in the other situation, if Devon Achane gets hurt, if this calf injury comes back, he could be the RB1 on this offense. And I think Ali is a really talented player. Obviously, we talked about why his draft stock fell, but if he had a strong 2024, this is a guy who could have been a first, second round pick in the NFL draft. So draft talented players on good offenses that if anything were to ever happen to the starter, they would be a league winner. And even if not, I think Gordon is going to have a role on this offense. All right, moving on to our next guy, Alec Ayomanor, rookie receiver for the Tennessee Titans. He was a 4th round pick. This is a guy who's already listed as the starter opposite Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry, but he's giving me Puka Nacua vibes just a little bit. I know a lot of you aren't going to like to hear that. Not everyone can be the next Puka Nacua, but hear me out. This is a really talented player coming out of Stanford where he racked up 125 receptions, over 1,800 yards, and 12 touchdowns in 24 games. Not great overall, but the offense, the quarterback play was horrible. So he did what he could with what he had in front of him. But one thing I thought was interesting was Alec did cook Travis Hunter in 2023. When he was covering him, he had 13 receptions, 293 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. We obviously like to see that, and now he joins an offense that has a good quarterback, at least we think does. First overall pick, Cam Ward looks pretty good to me on an offense with very little target competition outside of Calvin Ridley. I think Ridley will be fine this year, but he's also an older player. I think Alec is going to carve out a really big role on this offense that needs him. They don't have a lot of weapons on offense. Ridley, Chigokonkwo, and that's about it. I think Alec looks primed for a massive role on this Titans offense that I'm expecting to throw the ball a ton this year, especially because they have a very questionable defense. So if they want to win football games, they're going to have to rely on the pass. This is another case of just beating the waiver wire. Add this guy before he has a strong week 1, and then you don't have to spend your fab money or your waiver wire priority to get him because he could have a strong performance in the first week of the NFL season because Calvin Ridley is going to see a lot of a guy named, Pat Surtain, one of the best corners in the NFL for the Denver Broncos. If Surtain shadows Ridley, Alec is going to be in a lot of good situations where he will have a lot of opportunities to score fantasy points, especially because I'm assuming Tennessee's going to be down big early in this one, and they will be forced to rely on the pass. Moving on to our next guy, a guy we talk about a lot on this channel. Hopefully you already drafted him or he's on your team. Jaden Blue, rookie running back for the Dallas Cowboys, who is going to be the RB1 on this roster in no time. It might take 1 week, 2 weeks. I don't know. But all I know is Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders are not it. Very average, very inefficient backs at this point. Blue is explosive. He's electric. He's going to get on the field early because of his pass down chops. He had 42 receptions last year for 368 yards and 6 touchdowns through the air. They want a guy like him on the field because what is Dallas going to do a ton this year? They're going to throw the football because now they probably are going to have a weak defense after they decided to trade away their best player, Micah Parsons. So they're going to be throwing a lot, and Blue is going to be the guy when they want to throw the football. I honestly think Blue could be a league winner because he's far and away the best running back on the roster because of his receiving upside, because this offense is going to be like Cincinnati this year. Their defense is going to be so bad. All they're going to do is throw the football. I really like Blue, and if he is on your waiver wire, he should not be. I think he has top 15 upside at the position this season. Really excited about him. Needs to be rostered in all leagues. And on to our last guy, Cam Skattebo, another guy that we've talked about a lot on this channel, so this name should not surprise you, but he should not be on waiver wires. This is a really fun player. This is a really talented player who put up insane numbers his final season at Arizona State. He had over 1,700 rushing yards, 605 receiving yards, 2,316 total yards, 24 total touchdowns. Are you kidding me? This dude is a tank. He's built like an ox. He's 5'11", 215. He forced 102 missed tackles last year and rushed for 100+ first downs. If this isn't a back that like defines New York Giants football, I don't know who is. Like, he's just the perfect fit. He's really talented. He's explosive enough. He's hard to bring down. And oh yeah, he has a ton of value in PPR leagues due to his ability as a receiver. He had 45 receptions last year for 605 yards and 3 touchdowns, 1.62 yards per route run, which was tied with Ashton Jeanty last season. He was top 10 in receiving grade as well. And he joins a Giants offense that needs playmakers. Outside of Blake Neighbors, who do they have? I don't think Tyrone Tracy is very good. Obviously, he is currently the starter, but he was the lowest graded running back over the second half of last season among running backs with at least 100 offensive snaps. He also fumbled 5 times last year. Like, if you're a running back and you give the ball away to the other team, your time on the football field will not last long. If he continues to fumble, the Giants are going to be like, all right, we're done with you, because I think Skattebo is a better player who knows how to catch the football, knows how to score touchdowns, 2 things that we love from a fantasy perspective. What do we talk about all the time on this channel? Attack players, attack running backs on ambiguous backfields where the starter is he good? Do we think Tyrone Tracy is good? We don't really know. Or there's an opportunity where he could end up being the starter. I personally think Cam has a good chance to steal this RB1 spot on the Giants. It could be midseason, it could be week 4, or it could be down the stretch run to close out the year in the fantasy playoffs, and he could be one of those guys that goes crazy on your team when you need him the most. We don't really know. All I know is this is a really good player. He's better than Tracy. He's going to get an opportunity, and I think once he gets on the football field, it's going to be hard for the Giants to take him off. So he's another guy that needs to be on your bench. Let's throw out some honorable mentions here. A lot of other guys that I do like that you should be rostering if you do have a spot. Bashal Tutin for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he's going to be the RB1 before we know it. Dylan Sampson, the rookie running back for the Browns. Chris Rodriguez, Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver 2 for the Houston Texans. Really like him. And then Kyle Monangai, the rookie running back for the Bears. DeAndre Swift is just a guy I think Kyle could carve out a role in that offense as well, because we know Ben Johnson loves to use 2 running backs. So those are some other names to consider. Again, this is how you win in fantasy football. You get guys like these on your team before everyone else. Beat them to the waiver wire. Get them on your roster for free. And I think all these guys have league-winning upside. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you took away anything from the video, if you can please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a start-sit question down below. Literally anything. I will be happy to answer it. And I'll see you in the next one.